This and all episodes of the podcast have been brought to you by our generous patrons over at Patreon, the DayZ podcast. If you're interested in finding out more about how you can support the show each week, then please click the link in the description down below to find out more information about Patreon, the DayZ podcast. Thank you for your support.
Rightio. What are we on? Episode, did you say 27 now, is it, Boydie?
Episode 27, mate.
Episode 27 of this here podcast. Bloody hell, time flies when you are having fun. And we're bringing it to you via Patreon as well now. We've actually got a Patreon page that you can check out if you so wish. I shall post that in the chat now. There we go. Trying to work on a setup with only 2 monitors for this is certainly going to be interesting for today. But thank you guys for stopping by and watching the podcast. Today we have got Wobo with us as our special guest for the week. How you doing, Wobo?
I am very good, yes. Having a day off from making videos and doing other stuff, so I'm just relaxing today, really. Went shopping earlier. I'm good.
Day
How
off,
are you guys?
just uploaded another video today.
I did, yeah. Just I finished it yesterday, but it was late last night that I finished it, so I don't want to put it out until today.
Did it get
Sorry?
suppressed? Did it get suppressed? I started watching it, but I didn't get to finish it. And you're like, this video is so getting demonetized.
It actually made it through. It took about 3 or 4 hours, though. I uploaded it at 9 o'clock this morning, just to make sure it got through the demonetization. I would have removed the intro anyway, because I think making the money from it is going to be much more beneficial to the future of Wobo. So
yes,
I would have removed that joke, at the start. But I did have a lot of fun creating that at the start. Yeah, it was risky, very risky. I'm pushing the boundaries.
It was good.
I haven't had a chance to watch it yet because by the time I saw it had gone up, we were just getting ready to start. So that's going to be my my little piece of homework after the podcast ends today is to check that one out.
Well, the topic of the video was penetration,
forward.
So you can guess what the jokes were about.
Yeah. It's 60 minutes long, so
we're going to get to the bottom of the topic. And
yes. A lot of penetration speak.
What more can you want? What more can you ask for?
So how have you been, Wobo? What have you been up to?
You mean the last few years? Or like today?
Because Brims running the show tonight, but he's not as familiar with you. And one of the reasons I wanted to get you on, and one of the reasons, like we spoke about in the DMs, was I don't know because time zones and all the rest of it. I haven't been able to catch many of your streams, sadly. But I don't know how much you talked of, because I remember way back when when we did that awesome fundraiser and all the rest of it, you were talking about working at the local KFC, mate. Just to make ends meet and all the rest of it, and you kind of went very quiet there. And then I think there's a lot of people out there. You know that people care about you because of how much they raised for you and that. But I think there's a lot of people who'd love to know what actually happened the last few years for you.
Well, I went for the KFC interview and I got the job there.
Yep.
And I started there for about a month before I realized that I needed a job. I couldn't be inside all the time. So I stayed at KFC part-time working. I got promoted to team leader part-time, and I had to quit because they wanted me to work these ridiculous hours, 60 hours a week I was working at one point
60?
when my mum got better, and I just had to cut it back down. So I quit doing team leader and I went on to just being a regular scrub at the bottom, doing part-time. They really hated it, the managers did, that I did that. And I think in general what I did over those years is improve myself is what I've done. I think hopefully I have, at least. I had a look into psychology a lot. I started working out a lot. I ate the right foods. I was experimenting with my own body to find out. I mean, that sounds really dodgy when I say that. But, I was experimenting to find out how I ticked, to discover myself. And I think I came back to YouTube in a much better frame set than when I left it.
Sounds like you analysed yourself like you have like you do DayZ.
That's exactly what I was thinking, Ben.
I've done that. I had time to do that. I was working part-time. I had a lot of time to think. I was helping my mum at the time. She had a lot of issues with not being independent anymore, I guess. She was very reluctant to ask me for help. Really, really reluctant. And it was a struggle between me and her. A lot of arguments happened. She struggled. I struggled. But I think we both became stronger as a result of what we went through.
And probably closer.
And the money helped immensely. It really did. It's crazy how much it helped. We would have been so much worse off without that money. And the support as well, you know.
What was it like though, mate? You know, just you make silly videos about a silly game, and you know that's not having a go at you. I make silly podcast about a silly game and all the rest of it. But to sit there and you poured your heart out to us. I don't think you did your own little stream, but I don't think particularly what the Running Man did was massive.
Definitely.
What was it like for you being on the receiving end of so much love?
I don't know how to take it in. I mean, how do you respond to something like that? You can't respond to something like that. It's like it comes at you and you're just not ready for it. And I don't know, it's really hard to explain, really difficult to explain how I felt. I guess in a way, it felt like I was being lifted up. It felt like so much was being relieved from me because money was a massive struggle. Then I was struggling with my business because I had the web design business and I was doing YouTube on the side just as a little hobby to make a little bit of extra money. And because I love DayZ, as you all know. The web design company, I had the same customers over and over again for years, and I wasn't getting any new customers, and I was upgrading their websites. That's how I was making money. But eventually that went dry because I upgraded their websites to the point where they didn't need upgrading anymore. And my cash flow dropped significantly over the course of 6 months. I was selling things like I had a Warhammer collection that I sold, and I really loved it, but I sold it, and it got a lot of money actually, £200 for like a little piece of metal. Crazy. But yeah, rent and paying for food and basically the cost of living just ran my expenses dry, and I had to come up with a solution. And I turned to YouTube for that. I was hoping to raise maybe $200, $300 or something like that, and then sell my computer, and which I didn't sell, by the way, of course.
Yeah.
And back to the question of how I felt. I don't know. I can't explain it. I don't think I can put something like that into words. It melted me, but it also put me together at the same time. So difficult to explain how I felt.
It was one of the most beautiful things to
overwhelming.
Watch, like I remember I was watching the Running Man stream and just watching this amount go up and up and up and up and up. And you're probably aware, not a lot of people are aware, but PayPal kind of screwed the Running Man over because he was adamant that all the money that was raised was going to go to you. And then he got stung with this massive transaction fee that a few of us chipped in some extra afterwards to help cover that for him. And eventually PayPal refunded him because it was for a charity fundraiser. But I think it was close to $1,000 US, 700 kind of rings in my mind, about $700 fee they were going to charge him for doing that fundraiser. And then he had all the trouble of PayPal having a limit on how much you could transfer, and it was just because it was all kind of so sudden. But that was a beautiful thing of him to do for you as well, mate. And I'm certain that's something you'll find a way one day to repay for him.
I don't think I can do that. It's not just the money, it's like it's the sentiment that he went out of his way. He streamed for all of these hours. He put his reputation on the line to lift me up. You understand? I didn't want it to be like him saying it's a charity organization and his fans could have turned around and said, that's not a charity, that's Wobo, Yeah. He's living in a first world country, he can survive. You've got people in third world countries that, he put his reputation, he risked it for me, and he got massive amounts raised for it. I mean, the Running Man in his current position, I saw him, he had 4,000 viewers the other day. I think it was Saturday or Friday last week, and I was just so thankful that someone like that has that many viewers. You know, like a lot of people you look at on the internet, when it comes to streamers, you see a lot of these douchebags at the top. They're just complete assholes. And you think, why? Why are they at the top? And you look at the running man, you're like, there's a guy that deserves what he has. He earned it. He worked his ass off for that as well. When he started, he was doing 24-hour streams, 12 hours, 24. I think he did a 30 or 40-hour stream at one point.
30,
It was
30 or
crazy how much he was
36 or
streaming.
something.
But yeah, he deserves all of it, you know. He really is. He's the man. He's the man when it comes to DayZ. If you don't know who the running man is, then you're not involved with DayZ enough.
If you don't know who Running Man's is, you must have been living under a rock for the last like 5 years at this point.
Yeah, he's been on it from the start. I remember us getting together for our one of his first streams, and he had hardly any subscribers at this point. I think he was on a few thousand, and like, you know, under 100 viewers or something like that. We streamed together. I was over that. I was like 200-ish or something like that. And I think that he was such a great guy back then, and he still is now, that I thought he was going to go very far. He was a great streamer, very good, especially for someone starting out. And I thought he was going to go really far, and you know, he really has. And I think we've kind of bounced off each other. I helped him a little bit in the beginning. I'm not going to say that I raised him or anything like that. He could have done all of that on his own. We did like one stream together or something like that. I'm not saying that I helped him any way. But it's, you know, it's a two-way street when it comes to streamers. You have to help each other become better at everything, I guess.
Probably
I think
$1
that's
million question,
kind of part of the issue, isn't it? With Twitch and what have you, it's very, in comparison to something like YouTube, for example, Twitch is still a very cutthroat kind of business. It's still very much, you know, I want all the viewers, I don't want you to have the viewers kind of mentality to a degree with some people. Whereas I think having someone like Paul Running Man's, who, you know, is willing to sort, like you said, put his reputation on the line. It's all well and good saying, you know, oh, you should raise some money for this person and being nice, but you know, to actually go to the level he did, and you know, and like you say, money is nice and all, but it's a different kettle of fish when you put your reputation on the line for someone. I think it's a pretty cool thing, to say the least.
Yeah, I owe him a lot. You know, if you ask me tomorrow if I could drive to his house to help him move, I would do it straight away. You know, I owe him so much. I really do.
The $1 million question, mate, is how's your mum?
She's really good at the moment. Yeah, she has a boyfriend. Yeah,
Hey.
she didn't tell me for the first few months because it's kind of like, I think, I don't know, like I think she thinks that I don't like her having a boyfriend or something like that.
Yeah.
It's strange, and she didn't tell anybody actually within the family. And then a couple of months ago, he came round, and it was like, you know, quite awkward. But he's a really nice guy, really nice, and they get on really well, and she's really happy with him. The only thing that affects her right now from the whole cancer situation is her arms have a bit of difficulty with lifting heavy objects still.
Mm-hmm.
They're much better than what they were, and her speech is much better now. It wasn't that great. About 6 months ago, she had an operation to remove some more skin from under her neck, which freed up her tongue to move a bit more in her mouth. So she could speak a bit better, but it's, you know, it's quite clear that she has something wrong with her mouth, you know.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw the images, but the operation was, you know, 12 hours long or something like that. And it was very intense for her body. And the recovery stage was months. It took months for that scar to heal. And it became infected several times. We had to go to A&E on Christmas Day, on Christmas evening, because accident emergency that is in England, because the scar on her neck split open and all this stuff came out, which is lovely on Christmas after your dinner, after your Christmas dinner. So we spent a good 8 hours on a night in A&E at the hospital. It was just a rocky road, really, I think, but I believe that I've come out of this much stronger as a person, and I'm hoping that I can use that for the future. I think I have already. Really, I feel much happier in my abilities, and I think it might shine through my content as well. I don't know if you guys have been watching my content, but I believe it is better than what I had before.
100% agree, mate. 100%
Maybe because I
agree.
put more effort into it. I'm not sure.
You could see that, like, the part of the reason why I was asking, how's your mum and all the rest of it, because it's almost like you've come back with this whole new energy. You have taken your videos, like I've been looking at them rather critically, and you've upped your game. I didn't think that was possible with what you're doing, but you've upped your game even further. Your production quality is fucking outstanding, other than calling concrete concrete. Yes, I did spot that in your last video. You didn't notice that, did you?
What's that?
In your in the list of materials in the game, you had one typo. Concrete was concrete.
Country.
Yeah.
Oh no. No one's going to let that go.
Oh no, there won't be a wall of
Country.
comments. There won't be a wall of comments in your video. But no, you've really upped it, mate. Like your transitions between scenes and just you've taken the science. Like I remember you did a penetration video back in the day, but now with the tools that are available, you've gone to the next level, mate. You've seen other people, they were filling in the gap while you were gone, and you're like, guess who's back, baby? The king is back. And you've just the stuff you're doing now is next level brilliant, mate.
I'm enjoying it a lot.
I often used to wonder how back in the day that you even got some of the information that you got without having access to the game files or something. But as soon as you said you were coming back, and I knew that modding was available and the game files were available for you to rip to pieces, I had a feeling your levels were going to go up, and they have already. The fact that you've made use of modding as well is absolutely brilliant. And I'm pretty sure there's a load more stuff you can do yet as well.
I'm sure there is, yeah. Back in the day, I had to, if I wanted to do a tip and I forgot to get a piece of footage for fishing, I had to spend maybe 2 or 3 hours collecting the necessary materials to just get that 10-second clip of me doing a fishing. And now I can just jump in the game and I can spawn whatever I want, teleport to wherever I want, get the clip, and I can get back straight to it. That's probably why, as well, that the quality is improved, because I can, I spend less time messing around doing stuff that isn't necessary.
Yeah, testing and repetition must be so much easier for you now, and you can just pop something in straight away.
Yep, I even turned zombies off on my server. It's such a relief. I don't need to, deal with those.
No pesky infected coming up and ruining your recording.
Exactly.
So what's it been like then, coming back now with how everything was with DayZ back in the day, when before you took your break and what have you? It's what's been the sort of the big glaring changes for you that's sort of really made you want to come back and actually enjoy making this content again?
The reason I wanted to come back in the first place is because YouTube allows me to be so creative, and I just love the creative side of it. The second part was that I saw how the game had changed, and I jumped in one day. I just thought, I'll give it a go, because I haven't played it in such a long time. And I ran up to a wall, and I pressed spacebar, and I climbed over this thing, and I just took a step back, and I was like, "What, climbing? You can climb in this game?" And then it just led me on this road to find out what else has been added. I was looking in the forums, I was looking here. There's a change log on the wiki that lists everything that's been changed. There's so much stuff that's been added to the game that there's some stuff that I don't know yet. I mean, it's going to take me months to catch up with the rest of the people. In the meantime, I can specialize in, say, ballistics. But at the moment, it's like if I stream and I don't know something, then I feel like a complete noob. And I'm that guy that knows stuff. And if somebody comes into my stream and is like, "Oh yeah, this guy, he knows his stuff," and I'm like, "How do you do that again?" And they're like, "What? How do you not know that?"
See, I don't know about the fact that you're a noob, mate. I think it's awesome. Like I spent last night playing with Vigilante Gamer, if you know who he is.
Definitely.
It was so good watching someone rediscover the game. And if you know who Vig is, then you know how much of a fan he was of DayZ, and he was just so awesome listening to him go, my God, this game has come so far. And he tweeted out, just saying, finally, DayZ is at a state where if anyone asked me if I should buy DayZ, I would say yes. It is just amazing what the game has done. We were playing on a more hardcore realistic server, and it was absolutely fantastic to just, and it's great watching you do the same, mate. Just this almost sense of amazement. You can hear it. Like I said, I haven't got to watch a lot of your streams, but I have got to watch a couple, and it's great just seeing your amazement of, oh wow, you can do this now, and it's a feel good moment, isn't it, Ben?
Yeah. I mean, I wish at the moment, obviously, there's this big hype on DayZ, and there's a lot of people coming back. I'm jealous watching them all discover stuff. I wish I could go back and rediscover everything again. But
I think that's part of what I like about with the modding. Obviously, everyone knows that I'm a big fan of the modded side of things rather than vanilla. But I think having all these different maps now, like if you go on the DayZ standalone launcher, you can actually filter via map, and you see the amount of different ones there. Obviously, you've got your standard, you've got your Deer Isle, your Chimseas, but there's so many other ones now, like Valning and various others, that I kind of get that on occasion. I'll go on to a new map that I've not played on before, or I haven't played much, and it's weird. It kind of almost gives that sense of discovering something new, because again, essentially it's still the same game, just on a different map, but there's so much that has changed in the last sort of year or two now that you almost are rediscovering something new every day, even if you like me play it on almost a daily basis.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, doing my tips video, I had to make sure that these tips were correct and that they were in this particular patch and they were added in this patch or they were changed in this patch, because the previous patch 1.08 I didn't really play. I played a couple of streams on it, I think, and that was about it. I didn't have a lot of info on it. I mean, when you're doing information for a game and you're an information YouTuber, you have to be up to date with all the knowledge, and you kind of need to have that background behind you, the foundation of all those little things, those tiny little adjustments. That little bit of writing that you read on Reddit 6 months ago can make a whole world of difference when it comes to 6 months later and you have to explain something to someone. Because you lose a lot of reputation if someone knows something and you kind of don't. They don't really understand that you've been away from the game. They just understand that you're a YouTuber that gives out information. And I've had a few comments on YouTube already, probably from some nasty people, just saying, how did you not know this? This has been in the game since blah blah and blah 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 blah, and all the rest of it, which is it's to be expected. It's going to take a while for me to adjust back to the game. But right now it's incredible. Like DayZ has improved so much. It's shocking how much it's improved. I wasn't expecting this. I really wasn't. I was expecting the mess that I saw before 2 years ago when I logged in at 0.63. I think that's the last time I logged in. I think I did a charity stream actually, for a skydive in 2018. Mm-hmm. I think that was during 0.63. I'm not sure. But yeah, that went good. That went very good.
What's been your favourite or most?
Days off?
Oh, sorry, Boyd.
Sorry, did you follow DayZ much in your time off?
I didn't follow it at all. No, not even slightly. Like on the Reddit, I would jump in now and again. If an interesting video popped up on my YouTube, I would watch YouTube's now and again. But in general, I stepped away from it. I stepped away from gaming completely. For 2 or 3 years, I wasn't on my computer hardly at all. I'd go on my phone to watch YouTube. I'd sit in my bed and watch YouTube on my phone instead of going to my computer, and most of it, my computer was just sat there doing nothing at all, unless I had an idea to create something in Photoshop, or I wanted to play an online game with old friends or something. It was very rare that I was on my computer, so as a result, it was very rare that I was looking at anything DayZ related.
Ben,
what's been your favourite or most surprising discovery so far since coming back then?
There's too many. There is too many. I think when I first discovered climbing, that's when I was shocked, because I remember this old DayZ of when it was so clunky. You'd press V to vault over something, and it could take like 2 or 3 seconds for it to initiate, so you could get over this little fence. And I think the last time I played the game, you couldn't jump at all in 0.63 or some patch around there. And to go over to this object and press the spacebar, because I was pressing V and nothing happened. I think it changed my perspective actually. And I pressed spacebar, and this guy like did this animation to climb up. It was sandbags. Yeah. It was sandbags. The bunker that you can shoot through. There's like little holes you can peek through.
Yeah.
And he climbed up on top of this thing, and I was like, "What the fuck? You can climb!" And it just completely blew away that feeling I had of DayZ being so clunky. And now you had this fluid animation giving me access to this, to get on top of this thing. It was amazing for me. That was like a game-changing moment for me, definitely. So much fun that was. But I was alone. If I was doing that streaming, I would have, it probably would have made it to Reddit or something, because I was almost crying.
And what's it been like coming back to DayZ community as a whole? Because I think when you were sort of in your heyday, so to speak, it was obviously a very different landscape back then. What's your your take now been on the community as far as, seeing new faces, old faces, and sort of things like that?
I'm going to be honest. It feels like the DayZ community has been watered down a bit. I don't mean to like shit on anybody, but there's a number of channels that you can quite clearly see they're just out there, for the views and whatnot. It's not about the love for DayZ. Back when we had like Jamjar and Blackout, Mr. Moon, Kiwo, they had a deep love for the game. You could tell just from their content. Mr. Moon alone, holy shit, his content was incredible. And I think it's a little bit watered down now compared to what it was. That's just my opinion, though. Like most of the creators that I've seen are incredible, and they definitely deserve a place in the DayZ community. It's good to see loads of people that were here before still interested in the game, like Boydie, Wiidevil. I don't remember you, Brimstone.
I'm fairly new, to be fair.
I see.
I've been part of the DayZ community for about 5 years. But I've only been a streamer and sort of really knuckled down with being part of the community for the last sort of 2. So, yeah, I'm a fairly fresh face if you ignore the actual mug itself.
I think what I'm talking about can be seen on the DayZ Reddit, where there's a lot of memes now, and it's just like meme after meme. It's not really much about discussing DayZ. It's more about memeing about
I avoid
DayZ.
that place like the plague. Won't go near DayZ Reddit, me.
I used to love
Scary
that
place.
No, server owners just get abuse on there, so I just stay away from it.
I almost feel like every time I log on to Reddit and I go onto the DayZ Reddit, I should be wearing some sort of hazmat suit or something. It's just such a horrific, toxic place at times. Like there's some fantastic people on there that that are very willing to help out and give the information and the advice on, if someone said, "Oh, how do I do this or that?" But yeah, it's a fucking dark place nowadays.
Yeah, it used to be like my home, because I would get information from there for tips. Like I would say half the tips that I ever got was from Reddit, from people saying that they discovered something, and then I'd go and test it in game. Maybe I'd find another tip for it, and maybe make a twist of my own tip with it. I'd credit the person if it was 100% their tip. But I used to just go onto there every day, several times a day actually, and look for information and talk to the community, help people out. And it seems like it's definitely gone downhill since then. It has a lot more people in there subscribed and viewing it, but it's, like I said, watered down. It's it's not as good. It's difficult. If anything, right now, it's more difficult to find the information or find the good topics when it comes to that Reddit now.
The good thing is you're connected with a lot of modders now, so they're really good sources of information. As well, though, a lot of it's moved to Discord now. Depending on which Discord you're in. I know you said you don't use it very much, But depending on which one you're in, some of them are really useful for getting info from.
Yeah, I've joined a few modding communities, as well as joining the DayZ Discord as well. Back when I was making videos, Discord, it only just started, I would say, after about 6 months to a year into Discord. I was still using TeamSpeak to talk to people. And this is the first time I've used Discord since about 3 years ago to talk to people. So that's why it wasn't set up or anything like that. But yeah, I need to join some more communities within Discord to get that information, to get those tips, to spread information among the community, so that we can all become better players.
I reckon if you
Sure.
started your own Discord, mate, if you haven't already, you'd probably find a lot of people would be interested in joining it, just purely for, like you said, you give credit and all the rest of it, to be able to give Wobo a tip that features, and special credit to Brimstone for letting us know this beard growing hack for DayZ, how to make your character's beard grow bigger. But speaking of giving credit, who is Nuv?
Yeah, Nav. Well, he's a long-term friend when it comes to DayZ. Like, we started out. He started up watching my videos, and then we started to play the game together. And he was helping with experiments and helping out a lot. And then recently, I created a Patreon again to support me during my transition back into content creation, because it is very difficult to burn your savings while you're creating content. I could be out there with another job earning enough money to survive, but right now it's difficult when you're transitioning between two different things. I'm doing full-time now. So Nuv supports me on Patreon, and he's got the $25 tier. So $25 a month gets you a shout out at the start of the video. So that's the way I've done that to make ends meet at the moment. And he still helps me. He's within the Discord as well, the Wobo Discord. He posts whenever I post a video. He can post tips. He has information, But the thing is, because I have test dummies within DayZ now, it's not like we're talking much because I'm focusing like 100% on getting this science out to people. There's so much that we don't know yet. There really is. So many questions. I have a list of video ideas as long as my arm. It's crazy.
You've replaced your friend with AI.
Exactly. This is the way of the future, I think.
Easier to work with, and they don't cost as much, do they, mate?
Sorry, what was that?
Easier to work with, and they don't cost as much.
Exactly, yeah.
And they're expendable.
Spawn them in, The thing is, I don't really want to bother these people. I mean, if I turn around to them and say, hey, can I get some help? It's when you're talking to a content creator that you maybe look up to, I don't know if he does, then it's very difficult to say no. And I don't want to put him in a situation where he has to make a choice between looking after somebody or doing something for himself and helping me with, like you said, a silly game at the end of the day. So I don't like to bother people,
Like you said, I mean, people that put the level of commitment into videos you do. I'd give another example, like Frankie. Like you've just explained before, they'll spend 2-3 hours trying to get what might be 10 seconds. And now that you don't have to worry about that so much, that must be a bit of a relief. Makes it easier for you to schedule what you're going to do,
Exactly, yeah. This is really why I'm looking forward to when Frankie returns, because he can just create these incredible adventures. He's a really, really good content creator. I think what he's going to do with DayZ is going to be next level,
Magic 8 Ball
he was creating...
Not likely, mate.
He's not likely?
No, Ben can fill you in on that.
Well, there's been developments since.
Oh.
Yeah, all right, all I can say is rumours now at the moment that he might be coming to do some DayZ. I don't know.
I thought it was confirmed.
He's definitely doing. He's definitely 100% been doing what he's calling Armour 3 DayZ. I don't know if that's what possibly you might have heard. He's definitely done some of that. He did say that at one point he did say he wasn't going to return to standalone, but since then there's been a rumor that's going around that he might be doing some. As I say, that's only a rumor. I've heard it in my Discord off somebody random. It could be worth a pinch of salt. I don't know.
Well, either way, I'm looking forward to it. If he does come back,
Yeah, even if it's armor free content for DayZ, it'll still be
Mhm.
amazing.
Yeah,
His
exactly.
levels of add-in.
Look, maybe it's the Shroud effect as well. There's a lot of interest in DayZ right now, probably more so than Armour. And end of the day, Frankie's a pretty savvy businessman, so makes business sense.
It might have been something like that. It's changed since, I don't know.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? Now we've got so many content creators, old and new coming around again. We've like you say, we've got Shroud coming back, and big content creators like him, and so many people like yourself, Wobo, coming back that have taken breaks. We've seen like Deadly Slob and people like that coming back to the game. I know that the Beard Migos, as they're known, Potato, Loyal Patriot, and KD Wolf had a run yesterday. All three of them together.
Oh,
And
awesome.
that's. I mean, for me personally, that's my bread and butter of what DayZ content creation was, because they were sort of the first three main guys that I sort of bumped into and sort of started watching when I first got into it. So I think now we've got so many eyes on the product again. It's going to be an interesting time in the next sort of year or so to see how things progress and how things change.
I think things can only go up from here.
Yeah.
What I've seen returning and all these people coming to DayZ is shone a massive light on the DayZ community and the game itself. I believe the community outshines the game itself. The community is what makes DayZ so very good. And I think people will see DayZ and they see all these content creators making content for DayZ and they'll be like, wow, what's this game? Everybody's playing it. And then they'll see the community and get involved with the community and they'll love it. That's what's brought so many people to DayZ, and that's what's kept them in the DayZ community, is the DayZ community. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You get involved with the community, you stay with the community. It's the way it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I had to return. After 3 years, I've come back. So.
And
as well,
welcomed you back with open arms.
Oh yeah, all the people coming back as well and bringing new light on. Also, it's been good to see that's having a benefit to all the people that have been slogging away for ages. Like you mentioned Running Man before, but I've just been looking at people's channels recently, and even smaller, what you'd call smaller streamers, all the channels have got a little bit more views. So everybody's benefiting from it already. It's good to see.
That is really good, and it also bring in more content creators. I think like more content creators, more talent will come into the field, and we'll see a lot more people. Like recently, I saw the Running Man had somebody create a video about his intro song. The Running Man intro song. I'm sure you know it. I'm a great singer, and. That guy is incredibly talented. Like the guy who did the music, not Paul. I'm joking. Paul is very good too. Very good streamer. But like people like that, for example, and that's the sort of thing that I like to see. That sort of content is golden content right there. And that's the sort of content that will come to DayZ as more and more people get interested in the game.
The Acoustic Bands was the video, and my favorite part of it was him using the Heinz beans can as the slider on the guitar arm. It was pretty well done. Pretty well done.
That's what I mean by talent. He doesn't just make the music sound good. He makes it sound good with style. That's talent.
Yeah, you talk about that. A little bit of a side there, but I love some of the stuff people have done with music. You've got LKP1 from DBS, who does all these dance tracks, and probably my favorite one is Barely Infected. You've got S. Keen, who made Moselina for Mr. Blackout back in the day. But probably my favorite music-related thing with DayZ is Barely Infected's Campfire song. I don't know if you heard that, but that is absolutely brilliant. Barely Infected wrote and recorded the song himself. I'll find you a link for it. It's on SoundCloud. Probably about every couple of months, I just go back and listen to it again. Running Man used it in one of his videos, and it is absolutely brilliant. If someone could search for it, Barely Infected, SoundCloud, the Summer Song, I think it's called, and put a link to it in chat. It is absolutely beautiful. Raw, just acoustic guitar sound and no lyrics or nothing, just a beautiful song.
I really need to watch a few tutorials on Discord. I have no idea how to use it. I've got a channel, like, you know, I've got my own Discord server and I don't know what to do with it. You know, I don't even know how to get an invite link.
There you go.
That's
Mark's
how-
just found it. He's got a link for you right there to the Barely Infected, the summer song. Such a beautiful song.
There's so many talented people out there nowadays. I mean, Uncle
yeah.
Ray Ray's got someone on in his chat as well.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely terrible with names. I can never remember the person's name, but they've
Camino.
That's the one. Thank you. Yeah, and yeah, Camino. The stuff that Camino does, like, he's created literally whole songs, about a dozen or so of them, all centered around Uncle Ray Ray. It's got, you know, he's taken clips of like sound bites of things Uncle Ray Ray said and made drum and bass music out of it. And I'm not even a massive fan of drum and bass music. I'm a heavy metal fan, but I'll find myself sat there like half an hour before one of Ray Ray streams starts, and I just notice I'm starting like humming or whistling like the song that I know is going to play during his intro for his stream. And I'm like, fuck, it's stuck in my head now. And I've got no choice but to sit and watch it before his stream starts so that I can actually get that song out of my head for, 5 minutes.
Easy Rider's got a point there in chat. He said, I love folks like Mr. Blackout and a list of early DayZ streams, but I noticed all of these guys went from 1,000 viewers to often less than 50 when they left DayZ. Going back to the game's a good business decision. Sorry to be a bit cynical. No, you're not being cynical, mate. You're being realistic. But at the end of the day, there would have been nothing, like we all saw it. Some of these people, I won't say who, but, Wobo, you remember as well. Ben, you remember. Some of these people turned quite nasty about DayZ. And were saying some really negative comments about it. I never heard Mr. Blackout say anything nasty. I know he said that the game wasn't fun for him anymore, but I could think of nothing worse than someone who I idolised like Mr. Blackout, hearing him hate on the game because he played it for too long. And Wobo, there's so many who they needed a break from it. Your break
right.
was kind of out of your hands, but other people... Yeah, there's not a lot of people who can stick with playing a game. What is it, 6-7 years?
Yeah. I took a year out. 7 years I've been at it now. I had a year out.
It is difficult to play for that long, definitely. I guess what it comes down to is it an addiction, or are you having fun playing the game?
Yeah.
I think that's the decision you need to make on your own. You know, no one can help you with that. But for me at the moment, I really want to play the game, but because there's so much to do, like so much information that I need to get out there, that I wake up early in the morning. I have 5.5 hours sleep, 6 hours sleep, because I wake up and I'm like, I've got to get this information out there. This information they must know, and I'm trying to put it into a way to get it out there on YouTube. And I'm in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I need to play the game. I want to play this game. All this information I'm learning about it, and I haven't properly played it. I think the last time I properly played it was on stream like 3 weeks ago, maybe. Every time I've been in DayZ since then, I've been doing experiments. That's it, just science. Getting on with finding information out and getting videos out. But on the other end of that, it's like I said, going back to making a living. I've got to focus on getting those YouTube videos out as soon as possible. I make more money from YouTube, or I used to at least, than I did from streaming. So YouTube was like one of my main sources of revenue. So especially when the Division came along, Ubisoft, they were advertising. It was, one of my videos got 500,000 views on Division. I didn't completely step away from DayZ at that point. I was still playing DayZ while playing the Division. But yeah, that game died. DayZ is still here,
I don't think DayZ will go anywhere anytime in the next 5 years.
I think. I mean, I'm thinking ahead already to the Namalsk, and then Wobo's top tips on the Namalsk.
Yeah,
like I'm ready for it.
I don't know much about Namalsk. I'm guessing right? So Summerak, right? He's creating a map, right? I guess is this what I've heard?
Well, yeah, it's more. It's a bit more than a map. It completely changes up some of the survival mechanics as well. Like it's a frozen wasteland, so if you find food, it's frozen. You got to defrost it before you can eat it.
That sounds incredible. This is the kind of mod. That's the sort of mod that I was thinking about the other day. We have loads of these mods around, and they're mishmashed around, but we don't have a default for mods, I think, yet. Is from what I've seen, like there's no standard when it comes to mods. Like this is the core things that you have. I think that's what happens when you have a modding community. You have an initial period where people are giving out mods and we're experimenting.
Careful
this
what you
mod
say. We've
works,
got
this
a
one
lot of
doesn't.
modders watching right now. They're judging you.
Yeah.
Well, then this would be some good information for them. And then what happens eventually, like with the Skyrim community, is there's a set of mods that everybody uses, and then there's a few mods that people put on top of it, like cherries on top of the pudding, you know, on ice cream or whatever. So I think eventually that's what we're heading towards, is a set of key mods that improve the game a significant amount more than vanilla. You still won't be able to get the vanilla experience from these mods, and people will go back and keep on vanilla for that reason. But there will be, like, most of the community will be moved over onto these set of very defined mods with maybe some cherries on top. Like I
think we're kind of seeing the beginnings of that now, to be honest with you. When you've got like I don't know if you've checked out expansion at all yet. That's starting to set like a precedent for out of the level of quality for mods. There's a few other big ones in the works as well, and they're just in general recently the levels that people mods that have been produced has jumped significantly. So you're probably starting to see the start of that now.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really been involved, like I said, with the last 3 years, so I'm still learning all of the mods. I know DayZ expansion, that's a very, very big one. And I've heard about Namask as well. I don't even know how to pronounce it.
You've got it right then.
Anybody give me... Yeah? Okay, cool. I shouldn't have said anything. But yeah, I think we are, like you said, we're probably seeing the beginning of it, yeah. And it is heading down that road. And I'm really looking forward to seeing DayZ in a different light with those mods. But yeah, it's just going to take time, I think.
So what's your sort of ultimate sort of end goal, if you like? What's your sort of plans for the next sort of near future now that you're back? And obviously, judging by your content, since you've come back, you're well in the swing of things. What's your sort of your thoughts for the near future?
Next for me is getting into a routine of not only balancing my YouTube, my Twitch and all the rest of it, but also working out on a regular basis, seeing my girlfriend on a regular basis, family, getting it back into a routine is the most important thing for me at the moment. But beyond that, the next step for me and Wobo is a website. And this website is going to contain a whole series of tools that you can use. You can select different armor. You will literally be able to see the armor that you selected. You'll be able to see all the stats that come with it, the heat comfort values, how hot you're going to be with the setup you have. It's going to give you all of the stats for ballistic protection, everything like that, as well as the weapon sheet that I've been working on. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. I haven't released it yet.
I knew about your website as well. I think I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, maybe a few podcasts back, that you were making it. I'm excited for that. That'll be a really useful tool.
Yep. It's going to have a whole series of tools that you can compare weapons, you can compare loadouts of armor. There's going to be a hitbox tool on there too. It's going to be an educational website where my videos are going to be on there too, as well as YouTube. I'm never going to step away from YouTube. They'll be on the website, and there'll be like written content with it as well as like diagrams and information. And you can just go onto the website if you don't know something, and then you can just really quickly learn about what it is in a few paragraphs. So it'll be kind of like a wiki, but an expanded wiki, I guess. And I'll go over each weapon, I'll go over each piece of armor, and it'll just be something that I do on a site while I'm doing Twitch and YouTube. If I have like 10 minutes spare, then I can quickly jump on and add a weapon, or like, a few stats or something like that. And it'd be something that I can fill my time with when I do have downtime.
I think you'd quite benefit in that regards from speaking to Asmondian. So I think there's sort of a very good power couple in my mind there. You put Wobo and Asmondian together, and the depth of knowledge and information about DayZ that will come from the two of you together would be absolutely phenomenal.
Do you know who Asmondian is, Wobo?
Yep, he's helped me get back into the game. I have retweeted him a few times on Twitter, and I probably will give him a link out on YouTube, and I'd recommend him definitely for his infographics. They're incredible. They helped me get back into the game. Just very quick snippets of information, just bang, and you've got that information. It's like it's so well presented as well. Like the artwork is incredible. Him as a person, he's always giving out great information. So I'd highly recommend him, and he helped me a lot get back into DayZ in its current state. I still haven't got through all of his images yet. I downloaded all of them. I've got them on my desktop, and I've got it on my list of things to do, and it's right near the bottom because learning these parts of the game aren't that important for me. It's learning what I need to make videos for. That's the important thing for me at the moment.
A lot of the old ones of his won't be relevant anymore because the game's moved on since then. So probably just the more recent ones. The old ones would be nice just for nostalgia value, but a lot of the values have changed. And a lot of the stuff has changed from what he talked about in the early screenshots he did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's going to be the struggle with the website, is updating and keeping it up to date, because when I was creating my weapon sheet and doing information like for my assault rifles video, I had a lot of problems with the wikis and them being out of date. I'd look in the game files and there'd be different values, and I'd have to double check stuff with the wiki because it was out of date. So I think that's the driving force behind why I'm going to go with a website instead of just releasing this as a Google spreadsheet, because I can update that information. I've got these supporters behind me to keep me in a position where I can financially afford the time to update this website, So that's the main goal. I'm really hoping that will be useful, and I can stem away from DayZ as well when it comes to that. Say if a new game comes out, a new survival game, I can on that website create a different section for that particular game. I mean, so yeah, I think it's a very bright future going down that road. It also puts all of Wobo into one place. So
I think that's the best way to go at this point. I think websites are. It seems weird that over the last few years, websites haven't really been much of a driving force. A lot of people have kind of overlooked them to a degree and sort of thought, well, there's not much point since you've got so much with social media and things nowadays. But I think websites are definitely a very important sort of part of the picture to really get information across now.
Definitely. I mean, you can have Twitter and Patreon and YouTube and Twitch and have them all interconnected, but with a website, you can have it all in the same place. You can have the stream there. The YouTube videos can be automatically uploaded there. You can set up PHP scripts, because I was a web designer before, so I know how to do all this stuff. I can set up scripts that automatically change stats based on the values that are in the game files. All I need to do is upload the game files to the server, and it will automatically change all of the stats through the databases. And it would be so simple for me to do it. Just upload it, bang, done. All updated, wiki finished. And that's the future of that website. I'm really looking forward to it. Really am.
Just off the top of my head, I can't think of very many websites that are dedicated to DayZ that have got much useful information on them.
Yeah, you can look on the wiki now and again, but like I said, a lot of them are quite outdated. I guess they've moved away from it. They saw maybe like patch 0.55. It was just terrible, that patch was. I remember it still. And I think a lot of people turned away from the game then. It was like 2,000 to 3,000 people were playing it concurrent. And that was only released on PC then, so that was an actual number. But yeah, it's incredible to see it grow over the last few years, DayZ. It's a really incredible game.
I think we reached the all-time high for players online recently, didn't we? Sure it was.
Yeah, I think I saw someone put something up of it being like something like 35,000 concurrent players or something the other day. I don't know what I don't know what the all-time high is, but I'm pretty sure it's somewhere around there.
It's in the 40s.
Yeah, I think I saw somebody post on Twitter. I think it was Daone, who posted on Twitter something about it. I think I retweeted it, actually.
The ones in chat, sure he'll know.
Yeah, I saw he was an admin here. He's the one that did the mod, the bullet projectile debug mod, the one where you can see the bullet lines.
Smart.
Our resident bad boy turned good boy.
Actually, do you know, Wobo, who the one is?
I've only heard... I heard of him before, actually, yeah. I heard of him when I was doing my videos before, but now, obviously, I know who he is. But I don't know. You sound like you know something that I don't.
Do you remember 420 Gaming?
420 Gaming.
Remember the hacked files of DayZ back in the day that everyone was streaming, like Sci Syndicate and the dev team, Brian, and then were running around trying to find out how they got their hands on the cracked files of the game and all the rest of it?
It was him.
He was one of them. He didn't steal the files.
The one that did the airstrikes.
He was one of the admins of the 420 servers, yeah.
So it was like a meme community of hackers that just went around destroying the game, I guess, yeah?
No. They just did their hacked version of the game. Not hackers destroying it, but they had the version of the game which had boats and tanks and jets and helicopters and everything back in the point.
Modding before modding existed, or was supposed to be able to.
And they were the bad boys of DayZ, Wobo. They, no one reputable, even though we all wanted to go on there and play DayZ with boats.
Oh yeah, tanks and stuff. Yeah, I remember seeing a lot of images. Like there was a lot of hacked images of like deagles and stuff, and people asking, "How did you get that? How did you get that?" Because modding just wasn't a thing back then, and they added all these things to the game, and I thought, how did they do that? I really want to do that because it'd be so cool just to see the model, and maybe like if they worked on an animation, you could see the animation for it or something like that. I don't know. It'd just be cool to show people that, I think, and to see it yourself. So yeah, I thought it was cool. I don't know anything about that though. 420 Gaming, I didn't hear of it.
Well, that'll make Daone happy.
Yeah, I think we kind of we bring it up on a regular occurrence, don't we, nowadays? I think we're kind of torturing him for his past sins at this point.
And then one day we're all going to wake up and our bank accounts have been hacked and we've just been wiped off the face of the earth from a digital existence.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to one day wake up and all our profile pictures and everything are all of like anime girls and all daft stuff like that.
We just have to be really, really nice to him.
Yeah. Keep your friends close. And
But yeah, I mean, he's helped out the community a lot with the debug tool.
Yeah.
For me, that's been a massive help in learning how ballistics works in DayZ, and I've got massive future plans for that as well still. He actually recently released that, so if you do want to download it, you can do that. It's on Steam. You can download it and test it on your own server. It's not multiplayer though, and I don't know if it ever will be. But I mean, if you like to science around and see how bullets work and stuff, then you can check it out.
That's pretty cool.
Anybody? I might actually do a video on that. I'm not sure though. on how to install it because it's a bit of a workaround. It's not as simple as clicking subscribe. You have to launch it using a certain .bat file and dxdiags, all this confusing stuff. He helped me a lot with setting that up. He didn't have
He's a good
to.
lad. He's a good lad.
guy.
As I said, he's
Yeah.
making up for his past sins.
Yeah.
I say he's helped us get his admin tool working on our server, so that helped us immensely with sorting various bits out. So I've got nothing but love and respect for Daone. As much as we take the piss on a weekly basis, he's definitely one of the good ones nowadays.
He's just got all your
It'd be
bank
interesting
account
to see a
details
video
now
on that
because he
tool.
put his files on the server.
Yeah, I probably will make a video just for anybody that does, because so many comments have been about the. I'm tripping over myself here. So many comments have been about the mod and how do I download it, where do I get it, and because people want to go out and they want to test this stuff themselves, and I don't blame them, and they will learn stuff from it. So probably will do a video of how to install that mod. Just like a couple of minutes, it'll probably be. But I believe he does. He deserves recognition, and hopefully that will lead to more people following him and more donations. I donated to him because he did something massive for me. So
he actually has.
It's cool that people want to test out your stuff as well.
He actually has a couple of hardcore servers as well that he's been struggling to get numbers on. His deathmatch servers are very popular, but he's also trying to do a third-person and first-person hardcore server. So if you're looking for something with some fucking amazing mods, his trader mod, if you haven't seen it, Wobo, is just next-level brilliant. But definitely worth checking out his server. Even he's just taking things to the next level, like his loading screen. You know, before the live starts, you can actually customize your character, and it's a much more intuitive interface than what DayZ has. It's just absolutely brilliant. The stuff he's got, you can customize the HUD layout for. Yeah, brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
I love his little on-screen message that pops up when you enter the trader zone.
Yes.
Saying you are now impervious to all damage with the exception of emotional. I think that's absolutely brilliant. I would never in a million years have thought to put that in if I was doing it.
He's definitely a top modder and certainly one that you should follow if you haven't yet.
He's that one.
That one.
He's going to start getting a complex before long if we keep talking nicely about him. We've got to go back to shit talking.
We have to be nice. He's going to hack us, remember?
We've got to start shit talking so we even things out a little bit. Okie dokie. Well, let's have a look at the agenda for this week. So what I'll do, if I can remember how to use Discord myself.
Then just as well, Wobo, I know you've got a family engagement tonight, mate. So whenever you need to go, you just let us know, mate.
Okay, I'll probably stick around for like half an hour more or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
If that's right with you guys.
Of course.
Absolutely. Right, I think I'm sharing my screen. Let's hope that that's going to work. Let me know if you guys have any issues seeing what I've got there. But the first topic that we've got on the agenda is actually one that Foxypote shared for us, and it's Deadly Slob on Twitter back on September the 12th. Currently rendering the funniest DayZ video I've ever made in all of the years covering the game. I've never had the range of random characters all together in a single episode. What a way to return to the game. The Electro Runners Society is coming for you. So I think we've mentioned on a regular basis how we've got so many sort of old school quote unquote DayZ content creators coming back now. And I think that's just another one. Like I say, it seems to be all positive. There seems to be very little negativity coming from people that are lapsed and coming back to the community now. And I think it's brilliant to see.
I've noticed that we're seeing some negative comments, but the people are still enjoying the game. Like criticism's fine. So obviously you had Summit made his comment. Like you see that there with Deadly. I tweeted out about I tweeted out about a Battle Royale event, and Deadly replied to it, and he said that currently he thinks DayZ PvP is a main, so he wouldn't be interested in a PvP event. But he's still thoroughly enjoying the game, and obviously he's posting content on it. So that's it's good that people are coming back. People like him, and they're giving criticism, but they're still enjoying the game.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of that where it seems to be a lot of constructive criticism rather than that toxic crap of our fix your broken game that we've been so kind of accustomed to in this community, weirdly, over the last few years. There seems to actually be some constructive, decent feedback. And like you said, Ben, people are sort of giving that bit of constructive criticism, but still enjoying themselves and still actually, taking it for what it is rather than expecting the world and being disappointed. So I think it's definitely heading in the right direction now. I don't think he's put anything out to say when he's going to be uploading it, but obligatory picture of a cute dog, because why not? I'm all for it.
I think someone said in chat they've watched it, so it's out now.
Trying to see. I don't think he's posted it. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so it looks like he has actually posted it.
Still we made a way. Still we
Fucking adverts on YouTube nowadays. Jesus. That was a bit loud, wasn't it? I'll stick a link to the video in the chat there so that people can find it. Could definitely do without adverts doing that to my eardrums again, though. But yeah, it's definitely good to see guys like him coming back and actually giving constructive criticism and good feedback rather than just saying, "Oh, I hate this, I hate that." It's nice to see people actually constructive about it now. Where have we got? So number 2, the DayZ weapon melee. Rivet Gaming. That's the one. Yeah, I think this is definitely worth checking this one out.
Hey,
It brings up
my
a very
stamina.
good point.
2, 3. I get 3 attacks and I'm out. 4, 5, out. I can't keep. I'm pressing the button. I'm pressing the button. I'm pressing the button. 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 You should be able to keep smashing. That's what I'm saying. Like if I take this sledgehammer and I start swinging it, when I'm out of stamina. I'm out of stamina now. I'm able to keep swinging the sledgehammer.
Wait, practicing your takedowns?
I'm
Doing your morning routine?
I'm getting some exercise in.
Nice.
I should be able to swing my gun just as much as I'm able to swing that sledgehammer. There's another piece of fat and steak right here for you.
Ooh, thank you.
All you.
Yeah, so I think he does bring up a valid point. It almost seems like, I think someone did comment. I can't remember. I don't know if it was on. There we are. The DayZ expansion Twitter actually put a somewhat valid point there. If you would be able to spam that attack, you could stun lock your enemy, and that's not fun. Which I think does bring up kind of a valid point. It does seem weird that they would have it so that you can. The fact that there's a difference between the melee weapons and using your gun as a melee weapon and not being that sort of in sync as his clip shows. But like you say, that being able to spam it and stun lock people would definitely, I think, have a more negative effect on the game.
Sumrak has his explanation of how it works down below that, Brim.
Yeah, so obviously we've got Sumrak himself, obviously posting back there saying the key difference here is that gun melee is always a heavy attack. It was designed to push your target away and pull the trigger. That being said, I agree there isn't a best place and needs some rework to be more widely used, perhaps adding light variants of the attack. I think that's a brilliant idea personally. I think adding like just a light version, he brings up a valid point. Like you say, it's meant to be, you use your gun to push your enemy away enough that you can pull that weapon up and get shots on target. So it makes sense to a degree, but I think it would be good just to have a low level light melee attack with weapons to kind of even that out a little bit and make it a little bit more balanced. Where are we at? Number 3, Survivor games. This needs to happen now. I know that's your thing more than anything, Boydie. I know you you're quite a fan of the original Survivor games and want to see that come back. I think what Keegan's doing with his BR mod is obviously is definitely heading in that positive direction. I know, Ben, you had a chance to actually go on and test that out a little bit. What was that like for you with Keegan's BR mod?
I enjoyed it a lot, and the potential with it, I think, is huge for what it can bring players to DayZ. But yeah, played it last night. Really enjoyed it. Few things needed tweaking, but we played 2 games and he made some adjustments between the first and the second game, and they were all positively received. Yeah, the potential in it's unreal. I reckon it could be good. And as far as us doing a Survivor games, yeah, I mean, I don't know if we could even work with that mod or do something on our own, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it either way. It's something I'm keen to get started on now. I know Boyd is too. He's been
harassing you,
messaging me.
I think that's
have
been your
ideas.
sort of main
Ben
thing
has,
for a while.
ideas and the capacity to make those ideas into a reality.
I think we've said it before as well, haven't we? That now with modding and with everything with the game being in the state it's in, it's sort of, to many, it's in the best state that it's been in a very long time. And now we've got these admin tools and things. It makes putting events on a hell of a lot easier than it was, way back when with the first Ashes series and things like that. I know you guys had quite an ordeal trying to set all that up back in the day, and nowadays it's so much easier. We can really see some fantastic things coming up in the near future.
Wobo, do you remember the Survivor games?
I do, yeah. I took part in the first one, I think, and I died almost immediately.
But what do you think of them bringing back the? You probably know about the failed standalone game of Survivor games they tried. But what do you think about, because they own it all now, them doing an official Survivor game series again?
I think it'd be really important for PvPers and people that like to watch PvP to have something that they can all come together with. Mm-hmm. And the Survivor games would definitely centralize all of the PvPers of the game to go onto that stream, watch that, see all of the top streamers or top PvPers of the game come together and do a massive mashup, and it would be incredible. I would definitely watch that.
Yeah.
I think we need that as soon as possible.
I think that event series, like now, you've probably seen them. They do a lot of these Twitch rival events where they bring all the streamers together to play something. I think that was probably like the equivalent of the first Twitch rival event, because it was way before that had ever been done. It was a pretty unique event. That if DayZ won't do it again, we will.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, there's so much more availability out there now. Everything's come on leaps and bounds in the last couple of years that there's so much opportunity out there to put together a lot of stuff. I know you guys have spoken on the podcast before about the idea of another Ashes series as well. And I think we'd all be mad not to at least try, or to at least have a look into doing some of these big events, bringing these old ones back. I know with it Survivor games, we can't really call it that anymore because of the who owns it and things like that, but change the name and do the same sort of a similar sort of thing. I think with the technology we've got at our hands now, we're on track to doing it better than it originally was. I think there's a good chance of doing a really, really good job of it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've been done a few little events recently, but I'm looking forward to organising something big now. It's been a while.
Yeah, I think it's definitely well overdue. So let's have a look. What was the next one? Territories. See, I'm gonna throw this one over to you guys a little bit more, because you're gonna know more about this than I would on a technical side. But Dutch Ovens actually put a thing in our podcast suggestion saying, would love to hear some more technical people's thoughts on territories. I've heard a lot of things in terms of how they select items for persistence, its effect on raiding, etc. I think it's an amazing concept, but what other impacts can it bring, and what further development is being looked into? So I'll
Ben,
let
this
you
is probably
guys sort
you,
of take
mate.
that one.
Well, so is this specifically talking about expansion territories? Because DayZ's got territories now.
He doesn't actually say in what he's put there, so I'm not sure.
I think more talking about expansion style ones. Because DayZ has territories, but it doesn't stop you from being able to raid and stuff like that. It just affects the spawn value.
Right. What I will do in this point is hand it over to chat, because they can do the speak. The expansion guys can tell you, not me. I don't get in any trouble then.
But even no more as a server owner. As a base rating server owner, I think is where I was interested in your opinion on it.
Go on. In what ways it could be improved?
Yeah.
Good question. That. I haven't really got an answer at the minute for that. I'm having a think about it right now. I'm not having any. We're not having any problems with the territory system on our server, and certainly nobody's requested anything to be changed about it. In terms of ways it could be expanded, well, go on then, Mango. Get in here and correct me then. He's in the chat saying, do it, Mango. Come on, he's in the chat. Oh, you speak about the territories. I'm not the territory man. Here he is.
I don't know anything about territories.
Neither do I.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm
Jacob
assuming he's
is one
talking
of
about
the
the because
expansion
that's
mod
new.
devs.
It sounds like he's talking about the vanilla territories because
Yep.
He's talking about the persistence, and that's vanilla stuff. That's not expansion.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm slightly I'm trying to understand what the original thing he was going on about is.
Yes, but on the technical side, really it wouldn't have any effect on rating because it doesn't prevent any of that. But all it does is it just makes the items around your base stay a bit longer, up to 45 days longer. That's about it.
We're talking about that. Okay, I wasn't
Yeah.
sure. Right. Yeah. Okay.
It's persistence.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
That issue. Yeah. That's. Yeah.
I can't imagine that it would have a massive sort of anything with it, really, because I mean, surely raiding's raiding in a sense that even with the the way it is now, with if you can find some sort of explosive to fire at a wall, I would imagine that, with the exception of maybe if it, like you say, if it's making things in a radius last longer, then assuming a base is untouched, it just means that a base owner won't have to mess about with trying to reset the persistence timer by doing that whole put a nail in, take a nail out thing that a lot of people tend to do. I think when it comes to the actual raiding side of things, I can't see it having much of an effect on that at all.
Well, there's an unintended side effect of this new territory system. This is why I'm not sure whether I'm supposed to be talking about it or not really, but there isn't a side effect of it, which means you you don't right. So if stuff stays, you don't need storage anymore. What do you need boxes for, or storage, if you can just dump something on the floor and it stays there?
Yeah.
Think about it. That's not intended, or I hope not, because you've just removed. You don't need a tent anymore. You don't need anything. You just lob something on the floor.
It still needs to be around the flag, and all someone has to do is just destroy the flag, and then after however long it's meant to stay, it just respawns.
But haven't DayZ recently, as vanilla style anyway, changed the actual values on how long things stay?
Yeah, they upped it to like 48 hours or something like that.
Yeah, because if I remember rightly, yeah, it's always been a case of, if you drop a jacket or something on the floor, it's gone within, sort of 20 minutes normally, I think. But now they've
2 hours.
changed it. Well, there you go. Yeah, 2 hours. So yeah, I can't imagine. Like I'm so anal retentive, if that's even the right way of wording it, about like I could not imagine having a base and not having things in a tent and properly squared away. Like I'm so OCD with it. I'll have like a tent for medical supplies and a tent for building supplies and a barrel for this and a tent for that. The idea of going into my base and just dropping everything on the floor and going, that's fine, that's going to be there for another month and a half yet. Like that genuinely makes me concerned.
Yeah, but don't forget, like, it's a big territory pool. It's going to be seen from far away, so you would want to keep it somewhat organized so people can't just take it. So not everyone's just going to drop it on the floor because they can lose it. Someone might be able to take it.
I mean, certainly in modded, it doesn't really affect anything because we have locked storage. So
yeah,
people prefer to store stuff in locked storage because it makes it harder to get. But yeah, I don't know. Might change things up on vanilla a bit, but my stuff is heavily modded, so I'm not the guy to talk about vanilla stuff really.
Oh, well, there you go. Foxy's put in the podcast agenda suggestions there a picture of the new persistence values there. So large tent 45. So all the tents 45 days, barrels 45 days, miscellaneous like teddy bear a day, first aid kits a day. But generally, most of the sort of storage items there, sea chest, wooden crate, for example, are all 45 days. And then bags are only a couple of days at best, and vests are a day or two. So, yeah, I think it's definitely I think they're heading in the right direction with it. But I think, like with anything, I think it's going to need a little bit of fine tuning, and then it'll be good to go.
Yeah, I agree there.
Well,
Though I am curious on what Wobo's thoughts on this is.
Could be
It's like you
another,
said before,
another video.
The increase, do you mean? From 2 to 3 hours to 24 to 48?
Yeah.
I think it waters down the use of tents and other storage items. I think if you throw something on the floor, then it should despawn relatively quickly. Not in seconds or minutes, but maybe a couple of hours it should despawn. Otherwise, it can cause problems with the server, first of all. And also, if somebody wants to, they can just drop all their stuff on the floor and then go into a PvP area, loot all the stuff, and just bring it back and drop it on the floor again, go there, loot it, drop it on the floor. They don't necessarily need to build a base. And I think building a base in DayZ is really, really important to balance out the server. Otherwise, you've just got all this crap all over the floor and all these people running around ninja looting all the stuff and hiding it in bushes. And you might not even log back into that server. You don't know. And even if they don't log into that server, then they don't have it in a tent. And if they don't have a tent, then you can't find it. You won't be able to find it on the floor. The chance of you coming across an M4 on the floor is incredibly remote. But now that it stays there for, 24, 48 hours, I think that's a bit too much. I would say a quarter of that to maybe half would be good. 2 to 3 hours, it's okay, but maybe 6 to 12 would be a limit. Otherwise, it takes away from people building bases.
I didn't adopt the new changes they made on my server.
I can't imagine that there was really much need to make said changes, to be fair. I'm not the smartest person to talk on the subject necessarily, but I'm just sort of a player that runs around and hopes for the best. But I don't know why they made the changes in the first place. I think the system we had wasn't necessarily the worst. So granted, everything needs a bit of polish every now and then, but
the only thing I can think of is that it might combat loot cycling.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. Just so the world doesn't seem like it changes, like it just seems a bit more lived in. If you go to the same area, it seems lived in.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly seems to be the way they're going with updates for DayZ at the moment. They are sort of making it, as far as vanilla is concerned, they're making the base game a little bit more sort of lived in with their, their recent changes in 1.09 with the different buildings and the interiors and the exteriors looking different. And obviously our modded expansion helped massively with that as well, making Cami Shovo look basically unrecognizable. So I think it's definitely the way they're going. So I think it's a pretty safe assumption that that's what they're sort of thinking with it.
I don't think I've been in the game long enough to really have a strong opinion on this, because I don't know much about being a server owner or anything like that. But from my perspective, I think they need to reduce it a bit. That's just my idea. I haven't heard anybody's idea on why they've increased it. Maybe somebody has an idea of why they've done it.
That loot, to prevent loot cycling is the only thing I can think of.
Yeah.
I
Either
don't
way,
know.
I think it's good to see that they're actually being proactive as well. They're being proactive, making changes, and trying to better the game, which I think, you can't sort of say fairer than that in a way. It's nice to see that, they are actually going out of their way to try different things, and rather than just slogging along and hoping for the best.
Yeah, they're balancing the game, or at least attempting to.
Yeah, which I mean, it's kind of the least you expect from them in a way, but at the same time, it's still nice to see that they're still trying different things and supporting the game, in that way. And they're doing a lot to support, content creators and stuff nowadays as well, with shouting people out on Twitter and things like that. So
Which is good to see.
they're definitely heading in the right direction with it.
I think the new territory and flagpole system they introduced is a big leap forward for the base building. It was so basic before that. Had a lot of people not enjoying. I know, obviously, I'm talking for people I know, but there was a lot of people thought that the vanilla base building was just a waste of time. That's a big leap now with them adding that system in. I think a lot of people wanted that, even just vanilla players.
Yeah, because the issue back then was that the base buildings was just being deleted. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I quite liked the the way base building was prior to when they changed everything. I quite liked the old way of doing things, but I think I'm sort of I'm one of those guys that's kind of stuck in my ways, and I don't like change too much. So I think that's kind of was the main driving power in it, really. But like I said, they're making positive changes, working towards the future, and I think we've said it before on previous episodes that the future is bright with everything as it stands now, with the game being in the state it's in, with the state of modding being so positive now, and so many great modders, such as the expansion team, guys like Daone, bringing forward all these cool new things some things that we never thought we'd ever see. It's the future is definitely bright for this game. It's, I think, like Boydie quite often says, there's life in the old girl yet. But one thing that life might have been getting sucked out of recently was Twitch, which is an ironic thing to say considering several of us are sat here live streaming to Twitch as we speak. But yeah, the whole mid-roll ads thing, that was really something, wasn't it? That was I think, being that it wasn't part of the DayZ community specifically, I didn't include it in my days since last incident. But I'm wondering if it might actually bleed over at this point, because there's been a lot of pushback on it. I mean, I haven't read this whole thing that this person's put on, but yeah, there was a lot of people on Twitter that really weren't happy with the idea at all.
Mid-rolls work on YouTube, but on Twitch, it's gonna mess things up definitely.
Yeah.
On
they lose a lot of people.
You can't pause a live platform. So if you do an ad on YouTube, the YouTube video stops, the ad plays, carries it, and then the video continues where it left off.
Yeah.
On Twitch, the ad plays, the ad ends, and you've missed that big important moment. It's like,
Yeah, I mean, from what I saw, it was a case where you would still have the stream playing, but it would be, the actual stream itself would be minimized and muted, and then the main part of the screen was the ad. So you could still see some stuff to a degree, but like you say, I think looking at the values, and I know Devin Nash did a really interesting video. He was a bit of an arrogant knob in it, to be fair, but I think he's kind of earned the right at this point. But saying something, I think it was like for every 60 minutes, like when doing those mid rolls, every 60 minutes of your stream, you have to run 3 minutes worth of ads, which I think he said works out to something like 5% of your total content, which when you put it in that terms of 5% of your total content doesn't really seem like a lot at all. But when you think that's taking 3 minutes out of every hour that you have to put manual ads on so that you don't get those forced ads randomly, I think that's that almost seems like that 3 minutes seems like a lot, weirdly enough.
On Twitch, unless you're unless you're huge or you're pretty huge, what percentage of your revenue is coming from ad? It's nothing.
No,
it's not worth the damage it does to your channel. If you're a small streamer and you're trying to grow, ads are damaging to your channel. So you get what, 20p for them or something at the end of the month?
Yeah, it should be some sort of threshold. I think when you're above a certain amount, then you should have ads on your channel if they wanted to go down that road. But it would damage definitely smaller streamers. Maybe that's what they want to do because they don't help smaller streamers anyway. It's the big guys that get the views, So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine it's going to do much. I mean, I'm happy to show my sort of channel analytics there. Like you say, ads there, look, 32 cents worth. So obviously your majority is going to come from your subs and things like that. But for someone like me, I mean, I've got barely over 200 followers at this point. Got 2 subs, which I'm very grateful for. But like you say, that ads just don't make any money for you. It's just not a driving force. But I think Devin Nash did bring up a good point in that would in theory change if they had kept this and adopted this as a permanent feature. His argument at one point was that we'd all just get used to it, and I think that's a valid argument to a degree. I think we would eventually. It would just be a case of, well, this is just another part of Twitch, But like you say, when you're a small streamer such as myself, that I'm not in it for becoming stupidly rich and being the next Ninja or Dr. Disrespect or insert name of huge streamer here, But there's no way that you can force 3 minutes of ads in every 60 minutes as a small streamer doing 4 or 5 hour streams per. And the same goes for the podcast. I know it was one of your sort of worries, Boydie, as well, was that, with our kind of content doing this podcast, imagine we're having this middle of this conversation, I'm saying something relatively important, but then my voice gets muted and you've got an ad for some Amazon Prime show. Sorry, mate, what was that?
Raid Shadow Legends.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's you can't expect for to have a small stream or a podcast or something to do 3 minutes worth of ads in every 60 minutes. Like that is mad. I think Devin Nash worked it out that it would increase ad revenue. Even with the CPMs how they are now, it would increase ad revenue for streamers by like 40%, like 40, which isn't bad. You take any sort of any extra money is good anyway. You look at it, but I can't imagine it. It must be so damaging. And I'm glad that it was only a test that they did. I think they only ran it for like 24 hours. Which seems like it's probably a little bit short to get any actual information.
I think the community reaction to it probably triggered that being ended a lot quicker than it would have been.
Yeah.
They say it was a test from the start?
It did say it was a test, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Testing on some channels.
I think Wobo hit the nail on the head. That should have only been rolled out, especially when it's for a test, roll it out on some big channels, not on a little one.
But most of those big channels are already doing it. Rolling out.
Well, there you go, exactly. So, exactly.
That's obliged to do it.
my point exactly. The big channels know that they can run a 60-second ad, and that's going to be a healthy bit of change on their revenue. So someone like me, I'd straight do away with all my ad revenue just so people didn't have to put up with that when they come on my channel.
Yeah. I've noticed the change with YouTube recently as well in the last sort of week or so, that whenever I'm watching YouTube, I've noticed a lot more unskippable ads in the middle of videos. Like I was watching, I think it was Good Mythical Morning yesterday, and within the space of 10 minutes, I had 2 18-second unskippable ads just in the middle of a video. It was like 10 minutes into the video. And like at that point, you kind of think, well, what is the point in me sitting here watching this video if I'm just going to get unskippable ads? I think if every ad was skippable to a degree from a user standpoint, that would be ideal. But I can understand why that wouldn't be something
That's actually
that
them
you could
setting
keep up
it,
from a business.
Brim. That's actually the creator setting it, as Wobo will be able to tell you. But like for the podcast, I think I set one every 30 minutes, one ad every 30 minutes for the videos. But if they're doing it every 10 minutes, that's a bit extreme, wouldn't you say, Wobo?
Every 10 minutes, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You could easily watch a stream for 3 hours and you could get melted straight into it. But if you had an advert every 10 minutes, how many ads is that in 3 hours? It's 18 ads. And they're what, like how long would it be? 30 seconds each? Yeah. 30 seconds, 6 times a minute, an hour.
I'm far more forgiving of adverts on YouTube because number one, I know that the revenue thing is completely different on YouTube, and that's way more important to the content creator. I also know it ain't gonna ruin my video. I can carry on watching that video. I haven't missed anything, you know. You like YouTube, you go there knowing full well that you could disappear down a wormhole. You're gonna take your time. You've got the time to browse stuff. You're not so worried about an advert. With Twitch, I think Twitch, you tune in because you want that instant bit of live content, not with an advert going through the middle of it like you would if you were watching TV or something. So, and plus that you know as well that Twitch streamers have got more options for earning revenue besides ads, whereas obviously YouTube doesn't. They've got less less options. So personally, I'm way more forgiving of watching an ad on YouTube than I am compared to Twitch.
I think we've learned over the last few years how Twitch thinks. They want the money. It's quite obvious. They're a company. They need to go after it. It makes sense. They're competing against a lot of other people now. Because I remember when I was back streaming, it was just Twitch, and then YouTube joined, and then you got Mixer, which died out. And you got Facebook, and I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of other platforms try the whole streaming thing. So Twitch is trying to survive, I guess. But I think we need more competition for Twitch at the moment for them to understand that we're a community, and at the end of the day, it's our voice that matters, and it's not their decisions that will stand. If we don't want to put up with something, then we won't.
Yeah, I think Twitch. So obviously, like you said, every company, there's nothing wrong with a company looking to continuously improve how much money they earn. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But Twitch is kind of unique in that their money's being made for them by us, so they've got to strike a balance of improving the platform so that they earn more money, but they've also got to look after the content creators at the same time, because if they shit on us and we all leave, they haven't got no product to sell anymore and the shop closes. So
like watching a footy game and they roll an ad right when someone's about to kick a goal, and you're like, what the fuck, who's the idiot who rolled that ad then? But by doing it randomly, as you said, I defended it because I understand they need to make money, and the Twitch branch of Amazon isn't the most profitable. Subscriber revenue is okay for them, but the big money for them is ad revenue, and they needed to work out a way. They went about it wrong, but like you said, Ben, I do understand the need for them to look at ways to expand their revenue, and I support that. It's capitalism, and I'm a capitalist at heart.
There's plenty of ways they can improve their advertising without plonking it right in the middle of a stream.
Yeah,
they could do it like TV. Like they put an advert on every single channel or that's streaming at the moment on Twitch, all at the same time, like in TV. And then, the streamers can sit back for 30 seconds and chill and, take a drink, maybe go to the toilet or something. And then they can get back onto the stream after 30 seconds and be like, right, we're going to continue from here, like it does on TV.
Yeah,
Well,
you could schedule your stream around that, and then you wouldn't. At least some people could be sure that they wouldn't stream something that people miss.
One of the issues they've got is that at the moment, I could press a button now on my Stream Deck and run an ad. I set it up in the eventuation that this was going to be happening, but we don't need to do it. There are so many streamers out there. Like, I know the Running Man does not like to run ads, and I respect that. But at the same time, he's sort of like an employee of Twitch, and he's not the only one. There's lots of people out there. Ben, you were saying it yourself. You don't like running them. It's damaging. But the mentality, the culture of Twitch needs to change. If you want your preferred streaming platform to succeed, you need to make some sacrifices yourself. So when you go to the toilet, don't just leave it on a be right back screen. Roll an ad, something like that.
Very good idea. Very good.
You've got to change. You've got to help that culture change. Yes, you might lose 3 to 5% of viewers, but the ones who stay will eventually get used to it. And I do remember Pestily when he had his big breakout. For those who know who he is, he's an Escape from Tarkov streamer, and he had that massive when the drops were enabled stream, and he made a joke of it. He had like 70,000 people watching him, and he said to the chat, "Guys, I'm sorry, but I'm going to be rolling a lot of ads now because I need to pay for a home deposit." And chat fucking loved it. They were telling him, every 15 minutes, run another ad, between runs and all the rest of it. It's all about how you go about it. I've watched other people before where they've got automated ads run, and it's 90 seconds of fucking ads. If you do 3 minutes of ads that you're required to do for under that scheme they were going to have in one roll, then you're an idiot. But if you break it up and run one 30-second ad here and another one there, and you can work around it, but people have got to be prepared to make some sacrifices themselves for the greater good of the platform they like. They can't just bury their hand and say, you're ruining my community, you're ruining my stream immersion. Well, they do need to make money. Would you rather they take more share of your in that video? They're quite crafty. Amazon are. You said you watched it, Brim, the bit where he's talking about when they've introduced bits and gifted subs. Now, how many streamers have noticed how much their donation revenue has gone down since this happened? So Twitch is actually
I think Devin said 80%.
Yeah.
I think he said that when Twitch rolled out the gifting subs feature, that streamers generally saw roughly an 80% decrease in donations. So that's a hell of a hit to take.
Yeah.
Even whether it doesn't matter whether you're, a small streamer like me that, has only got like $5 sat in my on my Twitch, or whether you're a big streamer that's got hundreds of thousands of dollars, like losing 80% of donations just because they decided they wanted to roll a new feature. That's a hell of a dip to take.
Yep.
It was definitely a very interesting video, though. Like I say, if you can get over the sort of
the arrogance, the
little bit of arrogance that he had. I mean, I like Devin Nash. I've got no issue with the bloke personally. I've never met him, so but he's a very, very intelligent, very knowledgeable guy. He knows what he's talking about, so it's always worth checking out when he puts something like that out. But yeah, like you say, I think Twitch went about it all wrong. But I did see something about, I don't know whether it was in Devin's video or something else I saw, that Twitch has now started falling under some sort of scheme as the rest of Amazon when it comes to advertisers. So it was at one point a case where Amazon would have this block of ads, but then Twitch would have this tiny separate block. But now Twitch is because Twitch obviously is owned by Amazon, it all rolls into one. So there's now essentially more ads out there. There's more opportunity for ads on Twitch. So that's naturally going to increase the revenue, for streamers as well. But yeah, they're definitely going to have to look into different ways of doing things. Like I say, for me, that idea of running 3 minutes of ads per 60 minutes just seems like a hell of a lot.
Yeah, I agree.
Wobo, how you doing time-wise, mate?
Sorry.
How you doing time-wise, Wobo?
Oh yeah, I gotta go. Yeah. Oh, crap.
Yes. I'm watching the
Okay,
clock for
I'm
you,
too
buddy. I'm not
sucked in.
going to let you disappoint your family.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got to head out.
You
It
were
was really
enjoying
good
yourself, though.
joining you guys.
Yeah.
I was listening. That's a really interesting topic. I think the whole Twitch discussion. I definitely want to hear more about it.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you very much for inviting me onto the podcast. It's been great.
If you haven't,
talking to you
folks,
guys
and
and
I'd be
catching
very
up.
surprised if you haven't, sub to Wobo on YouTube and chuck him a follow on Twitch. He does a lot of his science stuff live.
Thank you very much. Have a good day, guys.
All the
Everybody
best,
else.
Wobo.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
See ya.
A privilege
Thanks,
and an honour.
Thank you. I will also leave. See ya.
Yeah.
I was just waiting for the right opportunity. See ya.
Well, it was a privilege and honour to have you as well, Jacob.
Yeah, he graced us with his presence this week.
I know.
No, with it.
Feels
Drag him.
special.
See ya.
Drag him in.
Drag the man kicking and screaming. But the next topic we've got is quick streamer tip. We've got it written down as. Now, I do on occasion talk a little bit of shit about these stream coaches and people like like Devin Nash, Harris Heller, people like that. But I've got a soft spot for Wild for Games because I use Streamlabs OBS, as I know you do as well, Boydie.
Mhm.
And I can honestly say, hand on my cold dead heart, that if it wasn't for Wild for Games and some of his tips videos and how to set things up, there's no way I would have fucking been able to do what I do. The amount of stuff he's put out, giving all that information completely free of charge is phenomenal. I'll stick a link to it in the Twitch chat there. But yeah, it's this. I didn't realize NVIDIA were even coming out with any sort of software, NVIDIA broadcast app. And from what he says, it seems like it's going to be a good one. I'll
It
chuck
is,
it on
mate.
here
Like,
for all.
I can demonstrate it. You don't even need to play it. I've got an aircon running next to me, just a little portable aircon, and it sounds like a fucking jet engine when it's on. Can you guys hear it?
Yeah.
Just about, yeah.
Yeah. Then you can't hear it now, though.
No, it's pretty much completely gone.
Almost gone, yeah.
I have to listen in really carefully to hear it.
I can hear it there. Fucking hell, you have got a must be rumbling that.
I need one of those.
Oh.
But yeah, it's great that they're coming out with these different things and trying something different. I think it's going to come in handy for a lot of people. I mean, I use Streamlabs OBS and I just put filters on. I'll just put filters on my microphone in the settings and sort of go from there. But it's a pretty interesting and impressive bit of software, and he's got all the information on the in his description of his video there, and he's done so many great videos of how to set up things. If you're a streamer out there that's sort of just starting out, you want to use Streamlabs OBS, definitely check out the Streamlabs YouTube channel. And Wild for Games actually does stream as well. He's got his own Twitch channel where he does a lot of sitting around talking, answering questions, giving tips and tricks like he does in his YouTube videos, just does them live essentially. So definitely well worth checking out. What's the next one? Ben Fruit's video.
Yes.
This I haven't seen.
Skip
Obviously,
to
we'll have to wait for the obligatory ad.
Skip to 10 minutes 45.
10 minutes and 45. Sounds like lax.
I so feel for that poor bugger. He did nothing wrong tactically and just got fucked by something that 90% of players wouldn't have even realised you could do. Glitch
I didn't know
through.
that you could do that.
No. Because they were stuck in there.
I don't even know how they got in there.
Oh, these guys, I watched the whole video. These guys locked them in there and were basically going to make them fight to the death, and whoever won, they were going to give gear to. And it was Lax and
Right.
Benfruit, and they didn't want to kill each other. And somehow Lax got his hand on a Car 98 and, yeah, managed to... I just felt really sorry for that guy. Yeah, that's basically an uninstall moment. It's like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
How did I just die? And
Yeah,
all
I'm
because they lost a car, they lost 2 lives, all because of an exploit.
Yeah, I'm going to go back and just have a quick look at that again, because that's mad. Oof. That is just madness. If like you say, Boydie, if I was that guy who just got killed, I would be fucking livid. Like that would legitimately, I would just hit Alt F4. In fact, I don't even know if I'd do that. I think I might just hit the power button on my PC and just leave my house for the day and just go and do something else, because that is fucking madness that's a thing. But again, it's just Benfruit's always putting out great videos like that. He's always got that sort of good stuff. And like I say, Lax is my choice of spotlight for this week for content creators. Finally come back to uploading to YouTube. And I know Ben was a little bit annoyed by my choice because it was his as well. But we'll do a team up one.
Dual one.
Both of
Yeah.
a dual one. But it's. To see more great stuff like that coming out is, you can't go wrong with it, can you? Let's be honest. And then, there's a little bit of information there. Ben put out a tweet there as well about the having fun on the BR mod. I mean, I managed to jump into your stream and have a little look at that before I went to work yesterday, and it looked mad. I mean, I saw you get absolutely destroyed as a fresh spawn by some fully geared player in a red brick house, and I'm thinking, and it was like just after the round had started as well, so I was thinking like, oh, that's gonna sting.
Yeah, it did a bit. As I say, the mod could do with a few tweaks on a few things, but I really enjoyed that. It was a lot of fun, and the potential in it, I think, is amazing.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot of really cool things coming out of that in the next year or so. I think it's definitely going to be one to keep an eye on.
Do we have any update on the monetization situation for Listic?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I can't speak for him, and I don't want to give away anything that's but there has been some progress on it. Yeah.
So they're talking to him. That's the main thing.
The talks are still ongoing. Let's put it that way. They've recognised that his situation is unique now, which is a start. So they've put across something which he can work with. I know that. I can say that.
Good. I'm happy
but
for that.
There's still a bit more to do yet, though. But yeah.
I think I saw on Twitter they said, "Oh, we've sent," like the DayZ Twitter said, "Oh, we've sent you a DM or something." That was the last I sort of saw on the subject or heard on the subject. So, like you say, having that line of communication will definitely benefit any which way. But we've actually managed to get a winner now as well for the base building challenge. So we're on to the Twitter Watch segment of the podcast. A guy called Roy Beer. You can follow him there if you want to. Winner of the DayZ challenge, the DayZ base builder challenge. He actually, I'll be honest, he created a pretty cool base.
I liked it.
I don't know if he did it by himself or if he had some friends on as well, but that's for me, when it comes to base building, I'm all about taking over existing buildings and just sticking a door somewhere or something, and sort of doing doing it from the inside, making use of what's already there. I can't imagine, especially since this was on experimental, wasn't it? So this was literally about as vanilla as you can get, and he made all of that. I couldn't imagine making that on the server I run with admin tools. I'm completely fucking useless. So the fact that he's managed to create all of that, I think he's a very deserving winner. I think that's probably the best shot where you can see it's a proper decent little camp. I wouldn't have thought to do that. I would have just stuck a front door on that house and left it at that, and then been raided very, very, very easily.
Yeah, and from what I gather, the competition on the servers where they were doing these base builds was quite high. So people were raiding each other's bases to get materials to improve their base, and I agree. For anybody to get a good base off like that on a vanilla server, that must have been a lot of graft, a lot of time spent.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You're not really much of a base builder generally nowadays, are you, Boydie? You don't really.
No, I've got my little base on my hardcore server, but it was a fucking grind. I've got one box of nails and managed to turn some scrap metal into nails, and just no big mansions.
No.
It must be more rewarding though when you get all your bits together and you realise, I can go and add an extra door on here or something.
Mate,
like
I had to go and trade a car battery for a code lock because I just couldn't find code locks. Another group couldn't find car batteries, and we worked out a trade. It's great.
I seen you were doing some trading. That's good. Good.
It's good.
Yeah, I can't imagine how long that must have taken him to start that completely from scratch to then build what he has. Like, I can't imagine how many hours he must have had to put in to get all that done. Like you say, the amount of grinding to get the materials as well. I mean, he's kind of in a perfect position for getting all the wood from the trees and what have you, but you still got to think everything's gonna get worn, damaged.
No nails in the forest.
Well, no, exactly, yeah. And obviously the amount of axes and hatchets and hacksaws and God knows what else and hammers he must have gone through to, just to build one watchtower is bad enough, let alone that entire compound. So
building it and safeguarding it though, and keeping it.
Yeah, it's definitely impressive.
Well deserved win.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll
probably destroyed 10 other bases to get all the materials.
Yeah, I think you have to, don't you? There's no way. Surely, there's no way you could just do that all. But you've got to have a little bit of help, whether it be a friend coming on, or whether it be you raiding someone else to nick all their stuff. There's no way you could.
I'm invested in looting for all that. Must have been crazy.
Yeah,
on a non-boosted server.
Yeah, I can imagine that was probably the majority of the time spent. From the moment he was like, right, I'm entering this competition, to the moment it was like, right, competition's closed, I can imagine a good 90% of that was looting, and the last 10% was just getting the building done. Because getting the building done, surely, in theory, has got to be the easier part.
Quick bit, to a degree.
But the actual gathering all the materials to do it is, bugger that.
10 hours to get all the stuff to build a few walls.
Yeah. Not my cup of tea. That's why I stick to modded. It's so much fucking easier.
Yeah,
I know I'll get a lot of shit for that. I like the easy
you're all right. I'll take that. That's why I like modded.
I love the easy life. Damn that. But yeah, community spotlight for this week. Boydie, I'll go to you first since you've been somewhat quiet on today's episode.
Mate, it's actually been really, really good. You've done an amazing fucking job. I'm really, really impressed.
I appreciate that, mate.
It's actually nice to sit back and just enjoy and be able to chat, and you understand the panic now of you've got screens going everywhere, and you've done a better job than me, to be honest. The sharing the screen the entire time has been perfect.
My Sunday's going to be a nightmare trying to figuring out getting a third monitor of some sort to work up, because this is fucking crazy.
But my community spotlight is Baby Nades. he has just been a tireless workhorse in the background. He's got his Baby Nade's Island server, his videos. So I know with all the other big names coming back, like we were saying earlier, and someone had in chat, don't forget the people who've been slugging it out all this time as well. And Baby Nade's is definitely one of them. I think most of us would agree on that. So Baby Nade's Island, Baby Nade's YouTube channel, give him a follow. Go play on his server if you like the hardcore style. He's got a really good balance. Probably a bit too brutal on the meat you get from animals, but that's by the by. But yeah,
I think it's definitely a good option. Like you say, he's been around for a while, and I think he definitely deserves the extra love there as well. Like you say, he's come on leaps and bounds with everything in the last short space of time. So yeah, absolutely. His server, as much as I'm not a huge fan of hardcore as such, his is definitely on my to-do list to check out at some point soon. So yeah, definitely well deserved. What about you, Ben? Have you seen any, whether it be mods, videos, anything like that recently that's tickled your fancy?
What I'd like to highlight. Actually, yeah, I've got one shout out because we're doing the duel on Lax, right? There's a server I'd like to give a shout out to actually, other than my own, obviously. It's a community called Just Instant, a German community. I say German. There's English, UK, everybody in it, but it's done by some German friends of mine. They've started a server up, and the reason why I'm shouting it out is they're putting the effort in that I believe is what's going to make good servers. One thing. I mean, you brought up Baby Nades. At the moment, it's really good to see the rise in survival and hardcore servers. Like, if you go back a few years ago, they were just non-existent, basically, apart from a couple, like Running Man and Spaggy stuff. Apart from them, there was nothing that nobody, really populated. Great to see them all taking off at the moment. But yeah, the community I'm shouting out, Just Instant. I believe they've started the community for the right reason. I'm saying community over server. So they've got a server, but they're trying to build a community, and they're also putting in the effort to not be too copy and paste. So they're developing their own custom stuff, and they're putting in the effort working with top level modders and stuff like that. So, and they're not being delusional. They don't think the server's going to be full in 2 minutes. They're patient and everything that I believe is what makes for a good community and server. So yeah. If you
I've seen their name pop up on Twitter quite a lot recently as well. So they're getting out there, they're getting their name out there. And like you say, I think I haven't yet heard anyone say anything negative about them. Everything seems to be quite positive coming out of their camp. So
I'll drop a couple of links in the chat. Anyway, appreciate it if you check them out, give them a follow.
Definitely a community worth checking out from what I've heard so far. I suppose mine. Like I say, me and Ben are going to go halvesies on Lax's new video.
Sorry, well, I'm not doing the video, so you do the video, and then I'll do him for the bit I was going to do him for. Okay.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's how we'll work it. I like it. But yeah, Lax has returned, if you like, to the YouTubes with a new video. And to be fair, I sat and watched it yesterday before I went to work, and it was every bit as funny as you expect from a Lax Hawthorne video. It was absolutely brilliant, and it's just pure mayhem. The only way that Lax Hawthorne can do. I think I've made it fairly clear that I'm a big fan of Lax over the course of this podcast. I think he's absolutely top tier, but it goes as well, showcases the sort of what Smoke's doing on his day one server and the sort of community that he's had over there as well. They've literally been essentially RPing for all intents and purposes, but it's been so organic, and there's not been any issues with it. It's been really good to see people have actually taken on different roles and actually making everybody's experiences about as positive as you can possibly make them. So Lax showcasing that in his videos is perfect.
I think I touched on it a week or two ago that I thought he may have some trouble with it burning out because there's so many content creators being on there. From what I can see at the minute, it's not doing that at all. Like I've been on there myself recently. I bumped into a few people. I won't name the names, and I didn't say them when I bumped into them. But the content that I'm seeing come from the server is brilliant, and I haven't yet witnessed anything too awkward on there. Doesn't seem to be burning out at all. If anything, it's getting busier. Like I know I was in a dirty queue for it, and I've seen people. I'm seeing quite regularly now that streamers are scheduling getting on the queue like 2 hours before the stream's even starting. So it's brilliant to see that one popping off.
Yeah, I think that's my only real sort of claim to fame, if you like, with DayZ, is that my literally about 10 or 15 minutes into my first ever run on that server, I ran into Mr. OG. He took the piss out of me. We had a quick bit of banter, and then he asked me to just kill him because he needed to get somewhere else, and he was like the other side of the map. So he was just like, just punch me to death. I was like, well, when in Rome and all that, let's be honest. How many people can honestly say that they've had an easy kill on Mr. OG? Well, so I'm fucking taking that.
Funny you say that. When I was last on that particular server, that's exactly who I bumped into, OG, and I recognised his voice straight away. But he had I think he had about 10 people with him at least, and they were all pretty geared. And I seen them all. I just thought, well, this is me going back to the river again. But no, they were all really nice.
Yeah, and I think that's the great thing. I think the great thing with that server is Smoker's he's ushered in that more positive vibe. Like you say, there are so many people on there. I think that everyone's on there for pretty much the same thing, and that's to enjoy their time, play the game. If they're a content creator, they want to get some decent footage. And I think everyone seems to kind of understand and respect that. There hasn't been any, from what I've seen so far anyway, there hasn't been any sort of anyone being a bit of an arsehole about anything. So I think they're doing well in fostering that positive community and actually, showing what can be achieved, if people just actually act right, so to speak, and don't act like a knob.
So is Lax's new video on that server then, is it?
I believe so, yeah, from what I can tell.
I'll have to check that out then.
Yeah, it's definitely a very funny video. It's just Lax being Lax. What more can you say? You've got to love the man. But yeah, I think that's pretty much, unless anyone else has got any questions, thoughts, queries, or anything else, I think that's pretty much golden.
I was gonna mention Lax because I only just got introduced. Right, I've watched his streams before. It always makes me laugh. I've never caught his intro. Now I don't know if you've seen his intro.
Mm-hmm.
I watched that today. That took I'm hungover from last night. I played Among Us late last night and I drank way too much, so I'm feeling pretty rough. That picked me up 10 levels. I watched his intro today. That is the best intro I have seen of any DayZ streamer. Many. That is fucking the commitment and the quality and effort that went into that. Yeah.
That's one of many. Though. He's got other intros as well, mate.
Has he? Oh,
he's
shit!
Got a cover of, Bohemian Rhapsody.
That's the one I watched, Bohemian Rhapsody. Yep. That made my day. That I thought it was brilliant.
I think he's got a few of them up on his actual YouTube channel. I think he's got a few bits and bobs.
From what I remember around his hometown, there's one where he wakes up in his house and he's walking around and drinking coffee and scratching himself, and wakes up with a whiskey bottle in bed with him, and
From what I remember, I think I remember him saying on stream one day, it's actually his brother, who's one of his mods in chat, that actually put it all together. His brother Oilers, who a lot of people will know from Lax's chat. That's his actual real life brother. If I'm not mistaken, it's him that made those for Lax. And it's phenomenal work. I've very much considered messaging the guy myself and being, any chance that you can help me out with a little bit for mine, because like you say, there's very few people that do great things like that the way that he does. There's him and Uncle Ray are the two that jump to my mind straight away for their their intros.
That's the two people now that set the bar for intros for me.
Yeah.
Is Ray and Lax. Now I've nothing I've seen competes with those two. Like I will watch both. I will tune into their streams. I've done it for Ray since the first time I've seen it. But now that I know that Lax has got that intro, I'll make sure I don't miss the start of his stream either.
Yeah. Even if you go back and watch the VOD and just look at the beginning parts, they're both absolutely phenomenal. They've got some very talented people that they work with to get these done, and it makes me a little bit jealous because I want that for myself. But at the same time, I know for a fact that I am nowhere near talented enough to create anything that's even close to that. Like you said, they've set the bar and they've set it pretty up there at this point. Definitely. But yeah, I think that's pretty much golden on the podcast there, unless anyone else has got any thoughts or feelings to bring across.
For the
let's go for it.
DayZ podcast magic mug. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Pick us a winner.
Beautiful here.
I'll say warm it up a bit.
There's that lovely Aussie internet.
Rubbing your mug on stream, Ben. How dare you?
Marks is the winner.
Marks, congrats.
Happy days.
GG. Quality mugs these.
So you should have got a message come through to your Marks. There you go. And if anyone else clicks on it, it ain't going to work for you.
Happy days. Congratulations, Marks. It is a bloody nice mug, to be fair.
Yeah, I've got to order
definitely
myself one
cool.
as well as a shirt. For you guys, I'm going to look at getting you one with your logo on the other side of it as well, so you can switch it around and that'll come out of the podcast. But yeah.
Phenomenal stuff. Can't say fairer than that. Right, let's get rid of that bit because we don't need it now. Happy days. Right, I think that's the end of the podcast then. Thank you very much, everyone in chat, for stopping by. And obviously, Ben and Boydie, as always, for keeping me sane on a weekly basis. God knows that's a fucking full-time job now. So, yeah, I think we're pretty much sorted.
Afterwards, mate?
Sorry?
Are you going to continue streaming afterwards?
I'm not. No. I'm going to go and have my evening meal and try and get some sleep in. It's currently about 4:20 in the evening, and I've got work at 11. So I think I need to get some beauty sleep. This can't persist. It needs something. So yeah, I think I'm gonna. I don't know if Ben's gonna continue streaming after.
Yeah, I'm gonna just stick some dinner in real quick, and then I'm jumping on DayZ. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Send everyone over to Ben then. Give Ben some love for this week as well. But yeah, thank you very much, guys. I don't know if Boydie, if you've got anything for next week you want to throw forward at all
for next week. Derleth and Dumpra coming on to talk about small communities.
Nice.
And anything else.
That'll be a good one. That'll be a very good one. I can't wait for that. Absolutely. But yeah, thank you very much, guys. And yeah, every single week, same time roughly. Keep an eye on all our Twitters to make sure you know when things are happening. Join the Discord if you haven't done already. And if you really fancy it, check us out on Patreon. Information is all in the Discord for you guys. But until next week, for I think what's that, episode 28 next week.
Yes, it is.
We're trucking along quite nicely. So thank you very much, everyone, and I will catch you next week.
All the best.
Take it easy, gentlemen.
All the best, guys.